We wanted to use the idea of collage, and collage in combination with shape, color, and line. And it was really forms of geometry and like a system of a design. So you're taking these objects that I see as three-dimensional and you're putting them on a two-dimensional surface, which creates a two-dimensional relief design. But it's really about how the shapes connect to each other, the story that's told between the shapes, and the space between them. I designed many collages, maybe 8, 10, probably more. And the biggest challenge was meeting the need of the cover, which was the beauty in the simplicity of the geometry of the design and the magical quality that happens when you just put certain elements and color together. I chose to use collage. I tend to use collage a lot with my students. It's a beginning. It's almost an invitation into art. It incorporates line, like I said before with the scissor, like you're cutting line. You have an immediate shape and you have color. So you're using all the elements of art and design in one. And it was art by chance where you just allow the shapes to fall where they may. And in that freedom of the design, it's not a definitive design right away. You can move the shapes around, you can have them find, it's almost impermanence before permanence of a design. The cover definitely relates to the process of my own work. My work is similar in the format that I use line, color, and shape. And most of my pieces are about the shape and what's created between the shapes. It's kind of the space between, or fragmented shapes, fragmented line. My pieces generally start with line. I'm a drawer. I approach the canvas and the paper through line, and then I add my shape and my negative space and my color. So it's very similar in the layering and the format of the structure. The actual lesson, I always like to start a lesson off with a sharing. So we generally meet on a rug and we have an introduction sharing time, and I always have something to share as well as the children. It's a really nice time of just feeling comfortable and familiar with each other. I happened to share the book by Sonia Delaney, and it was about shapes and color and design and geometry. And it was also a pop-up book. And so the children loved seeing the shapes, they loved seeing how the book opened up. So it was all about two-dimension, three-dimension, shapes, color, line, and geometry. So it was a great vehicle for conversation about all of the languages that I wanted them to discover. Next, we went to the tabletop and we played with the power clicks. So I let them play with them. They were very excited. It was very playful. They loved the colors, they loved the shapes, they loved the magnetic quality. They wanted to build up immediately. So I asked them to build down and build on a flat surface and start building one shape upon another and see what kind of a collage or story they could tell with this particular toy. Then we let them build three-dimensionally and have fun with the toy until it was time to start the collage lesson. With the collage lesson, I had all the supplies set up. I like the children to move around the room and get the supplies that they need to create their piece. And I asked them just to begin playing with the shapes and see what kind of storytelling they could tell with the shapes, whatever life experience they felt like sharing with us that day. They moved the shapes around, and I asked them to really feel when it feels right, when the shapes start feeling right. See what happens if you move one shape next to the other. What happens when a blue is next to an orange? There's a relationship of color and shape that happens, and when they feel that it feels done, I would then give them the glue stick, and we would start preparing to glue the piece down for more permanence in the design. This lesson could be done two-dimensionally and three-dimensionally, and it could take many forms. It could start on a two-dimensional drawing, it could be painted, it could be collage, it could be cut paper glued together, it could be cardboard, it could be boxes. Any material that would be brought in, you really could create this type of work. It's the basis of three-dimensional design. You could build out, you could build up. It's a tough question, but I do remember I loved building. I was very three-dimensional. I didn't realize that there was two-dimensional, three-dimensional, but I was a natural builder. And the toys that we had when I was little, we had Tinker Toys and Lincoln Logs. And I always wanted more. Like, it came in one set, and I always wished that I could have more. Like, I could never build as big as I really wanted to build. And I didn't realize you could actually get more sets. I thought that was it. So I was limited in rebuilding, which is not a bad thing, is to unbuild and rebuild and unbuild and rebuild. But I definitely wanted more.